So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast for this Aston Villa versus Ipswich preview. And a game I'm really looking forward to this Saturday at 3 o'clock, Paddy, because it's one of those games that, look, I know we dropped points against Wolves and stuff like that, but the club has gone, I don't know what, like the feeling inside the club from dropping points against Wolves to where we are now has almost doubled. And I'm hoping we can go away and get a result against Ipswich and right the ship again in the league, Paddy. Big game.
I'm losing you already. That's a great start, isn't it? I've lost you already.
Yeah. Could you not hear me at all?
Okay. Maybe I'll leave and come back in. I'm just going to leave and come back in. I'll be back in a second.
No bother. See you in a second. For everybody else, I presume you guys could hear me there. I was just saying there that Ipswich, obviously, big game at the weekend. Ipswich down in 19th position, haven't won in their last 5. Obviously, Villa played against Wolves last time out. It was the first time we dropped points against. There he is. There's Paddy. I hope you can hear me now. It was the first time Villa under Unai Emery have dropped points against the team in the relegation zone when we dropped points to Wolves last time. And hopefully we don't make it 2 weeks out of 2 when we drop points to teams in the relegation zone. Granted that Ipswich 22 goals scored so far this season, 49 conceded, but haven't won in their last 5. And I'm expecting Villa to win this weekend.
I'm expecting them to win too, but then the memory of that 29th of December game is still etched in my memory that we somehow managed to drop 2 points there. Obviously Liam Delap got the 2 goals. He bullied the hell out of Diego Carlos for one of them. And and it was one of those games where we had Konza at right back and he got cut out as well. So it's a must-win game, I think. I think it's a win that puts us into a good position heading into what's going to be a difficult week playing Liverpool and Chelsea. So we've got to go and win this week, and with this weekend, and then take each of the other 2 games one by one. But it's a big week for the club. I think if we can come out of the week with 4 or maybe even 5 points, we'd all be very, very happy.
I think so too, and it'd be big for we need to win this game against Ipswich for the Chelsea game to really matter, because Chelsea are the team we're trying to hunt down. Chelsea are the team that we're trying to usurp. Beating Ipswich gets us on to 40 points. Whatever Chelsea do in their game is whatever they will do. But closing that gap to Chelsea is paramount at the moment, because they are the incumbents in 4th place at the moment. And I think that brings me on to the next question, Paddy. Obviously, we've gotten a couple of injuries. Doesn't look like Konza is going to be there at the weekend. Axel Disasi will be available. Potentially Mings will be available. And we've seen Pau Torres doing some work in the gym. You'd have to think it was a bit too early for Torres at the moment, but do you think he's going to risk Mings as well, or do you think he's going to continue playing Kamara in centre half, maybe beside Disasi?
Well, I think Mings is a bit further along, so it just depends on how he is on the pitch. We're obviously not seeing too much of that, and they're right to keep the cards close to their chest. I definitely don't expect to see Pau in this next run of games. They certainly wouldn't risk Mings this weekend, I would imagine, and I would think even playing Kamara out of position in that centre half role would be absolutely fine. I would like to see Mings peak. I think it will be important in we can get them back on the pitch, because we need Kamara in midfield to do a job on Liverpool in midweek. But I'm jumping ahead of myself as usual. It's Ipswich we need to focus on and get the 3 points on the board and use that as a springboard into what's going to be a difficult telltale week.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really interesting presser tomorrow on Friday when Unai does talk about injuries, because that's all people are going to be talking about. Does Ollie Watkins come back? Do we get the likes of Barkley back or Nana back? Are the reinforcements coming there in that 6-8 position in midfield? And obviously the Tyrone Mings question will come up. So I personally don't think Watkins is going to play at the weekend. I think it's going to be Daniel Mallon up top again. But I do think that one of the two lads that came on the weekend will start, Rashford or Asensio. And look, I think it's going to be an interesting team. A lot of the questions, I hope the questions focus around the injuries. I hope there's questions about, when are we likely to see these people back? I kind of want to hear more answers than just who's out for the coming game, because it's going to have a massive bearing on this really important week where we play 3 games in 8 days or something like that, I think it is. So it's important we drip feed people, we get them back, and playing against Liverpool and playing against Chelsea, you just said, is important, but beating Ipswich is even more important first. And seeing who's going to be available for that game is going to be really, really important. Would you say it's going to be Asensio or Rashford that might start, or would you say both of them are going to start at the weekend? I think I've lost.
I don't know whether it's your internet or mine. There's something playing games on me here. I think you asked me, did I think Asensio and Rashford start? Is that what you said?
That was it. Yeah, that's what I said.
I think it's a possibility for this one. I think it's an ideal opportunity to give someone a rest. Be that Morgan Rogers, be that JJ. Although I'd be reluctant to drop JJ because he's back to his effervescent best. If take away the fact that he obviously missing chances, that will come. We've allowed many players miss chances over the last year, so he's allowed miss a few as well. But a JJ on fire could be just that key to unlocking games during the week. So I'd be inclined to put him back in there this weekend and let him push on with that momentum. With regards, I could see one or Asensio and Rashford starting. Which one of them it is, I'm not so sure. I expect one of them to start and get up to speed in this one. Probably Rashford if I had to pick one.
Yeah, maybe Mallon plays out on the right hand side. Maybe Rashford plays up top. Could be something along those lines. That's how you probably fit both of them in from the start, I would imagine. Keeping JJ in there on the left hand side. But look, once again, Leon Bailey had his best game in months. For Aston Villa last time out as well against Spurs. So maybe we're talking about changing players for the sake of it. Maybe we keep the 2 lads in reserve. One of the things that hindered us against Ipswich last time was, we didn't kill off the game. We didn't close out the game. And, the best way to do it against a team like that is to attack and bring on Rashford and Asensio might be the way forward there as well. It's very difficult to talk much about this game, and the reason being is because you even look towards the Ipswich team. Liam Delap, anyone else that you're particularly got your eye on there in the Ipswich team, Paddy?
Well, I suppose the big thing from our point of view is there like Sammy Smodic has been a great signing for them, and he's out now at the weekend, so he's going to be a big loss for them. Other than that, it's hard to pinpoint anyone in particular that, there's obviously Jaden is going to come back. You've got Jack Clark, you've got, I can't think off the top of my head. Attacking wise.
Yeah.
Is Enciso with him?
Yeah, Enciso.
I didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
Did he join on loan?
Yes, yeah, he did.
Right. Yeah, so look, it's defensively where their frailties are. Moric could be prime Emi Martinez, or he could be prime
Now, he's
Orion
not going to
Nyland.
play. I don't think he's going to play. I think it's going to be the new guy they signed, Alex Palmer from West Brom. I've got a hunch that it's going to be
Really?
him. Yeah, I think that's going to. Considering he's played a ton in the championship this season, I think they're going to bring him in. They've had a problem at goalkeeper. They've had your man Walton in there recently, and then obviously your man Murch that you mentioned there previously.
So we've got Axel Tuanzebe coming back as well. Darrow O'Shea, Greaves, Davis, probably the back four. Morsi and I don't know how you pronounce that other fella's name. Cajuste, is it? Cajuste.
Yeah.
We'll sit in midfield, and then it depends on who's fit to play above them. And obviously you got the threat of Liam Delap, who obviously scored 2 the last day and will undoubtedly give us a torrid time. They play the same system as us in a 4-2-3-1. So they will compact that midfield. They will sit deep. They will make it really hard for us to break down. They probably don't play high enough for a Rashford running at them. So maybe it is Asensio that comes in the weekend, the more I think about it. But it's it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to call on how he lines up at the top end of the pitch. I think our back six, as in our back four and the 2 in front, is probably going to stay exactly the same. With the exception of whether he goes with Luca Dean or Maatsen. I expect it to be Luca Dean. And then, he could go exactly the same as what finished last week, or he could mix it up. But I know one thing for sure: he's not going to be happy with anything less than 3 points at the weekend. And there really has to come a time, Neil, where we go and put teams to bed. We haven't done it all season. I couldn't tell you one game where on 90 minutes I thought to myself, this game is over, including Spurs at the weekend, just because of how things have gone for us over the season. So I'd be quite happy to get this game done and dusted early and get a couple of goals on the board, because if you take Celtic out of that, we're not scoring many goals. I couldn't tell you the last time we scored 3 goals. Maybe Leipzig might be the last time.
Yep.
So it doesn't happen too often. So for me, this weekend is all about getting in early, getting the goals, getting out the gap with the 3 points, and focusing on during the week. But we could be really pissed off if they mess this up on Saturday, heading into what we know is going to be the relative unknown. What team turns up during the week? It's great to have 3 home fixtures so close together, and 3 home fixtures that we could potentially do something against what's perceived to be a better team than us. There's no perceived. They are ahead of us in the league, so they're going to be tough games. And we have upped our game against the likes of Arsenal earlier this year. So it can happen. We can certainly turn over these teams, but we have also got in our mindset the fact that we've thrown away points against the likes of Ipswich in the past. That one against Forest is still irking me a little bit. So we've got to be careful. We've got to treat them with respect. But first and foremost, we've got to get the team selection right to go and win the game.
I think he will. Considering, look, the only decisions he really has to make are the boys who's going to be playing in the front 4 positions. Everything else kind of picks itself. I had a question there. I can't remember what it is. So I'm going to pivot directly towards Rob Jones is refereeing at the weekend, Paddy. What do we make of Rob Jones?
Well, Stato reliably informed me that we've only won 2 games of 11 that Rob Jones has refereed for us. That I probably, if he'd given me the 2 games in 11, I probably would have said none of 11, because it just always seems to be that he officiates when we lose. So I don't know how long ago those two wins were, but it certainly feels like a very long time ago. Look, they're all poor. We're not getting any luck with these guys. But having said that, we need to create our own luck. We need to get far enough ahead. We need to create our chance. We need to take the chances, because we're creating many of them. So score enough goals that when these decisions come against us, that it's it's not going to matter. And if it turns out to be 3-1, so be it, and we can give out about them after us.
Yeah. What did you make? Just talking about stuff. What did you make of? There was a lot of talk last night about how the Merseyside derby ended. Did you see it, Paddy? I saw it. I was watching. I didn't watch anything. I actually only turned on at like 88 minutes or something. So I got all the action for the Merseyside derby. But what did you make of how it ended? Obviously, the reason I bring it up is Arne Slot, Curtis Jones, they're not going to be available against Aston Villa now because they've been sent off afterwards. But
Curtis Jones might, because there was only a second yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think he's still out.
Is it not just a one-match ban, no?
Maybe it is, yeah. It doesn't really matter. I don't think he's going to be playing anyway. I don't think he's going to be starting.
Like you, I only saw the mayhem at the end. I was actually at training, so I missed it. But look, you can't. I've said this many times in our podcast about celebrating in front of the opposition. This is what happens, and we should take offense when people do it to us, because it's unacceptable behavior, and people end up getting hurt because of it. So it spills.
No, I mean, did you think Michael Oliver was wrong to add on that extra time based on fouls, and I think there was a substitution made as well and stuff like that? Because that seemed to be the bone of contention. Why did you play the extra 90 seconds? And the reason I bring it up is because we all know Federico Macheda made his name from scoring in Fergie time, in Fergie time against Aston Villa. So this stuff happens week in, week out. But I feel like just because it happened in the Merseyside derby, there was a bit more made of it last night. And I was kind of going, I think this is paper never refused ink type of argument here. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too flippant on it, but what's your view on that?
Well, my view on that has always been the same. That we've seen it in our GAA sports now, where they're stopping the clock. There's a lot less messing going on the pitch. There's a lot less people lying on the ground pretending to be injured. So that's always been my idea of how this works. If people are going to lie on the ground, we stop the clock, because it cuts it out from day one. And we saw a huge influx of foreign players come into the Premier League in the 90s, and this is where it's all stemming from. And if you're going to lie on the ground for long periods of time, it's very hard for a referee to keep timing, in such a high octane, high intensity game, and obviously a raucous atmosphere, being the last derby in Goodison Park. As I said, I only saw what happened from I'd say from 88 minutes on, like yourself. So it was hard to judge what happened earlier in the game, but it certainly seemed like he played longer than he should have. And
and as John Steele points out there as well, there was a clash of heads during the extra time as well, the added time as well. So I don't know. And
the thing is, when they do that, you've got Liverpool fans who are timing it as it happens, and then they're adding it on at the end, which is really hard to do. In the heat of the moment, and putting on whatever needs to be done. But that's not going to cost Liverpool winning the league. Obviously it was unfortunate that Everton equalised in that time that maybe shouldn't have been put on. But it's all a bit wild, the fact that anything could have happened there at the end. And look, I honestly don't really care that it's happened to Liverpool. I don't really care when it happens to Arsenal. They just tend to lose their shit. But we've had it week in, week out. We've had decisions against us week in, week out, and they're not being talked about because we're just little old happy Aston Villa, and we just smile and get on with it. And our club don't give out about it when it happens. But these clubs, we spoke about the mentality a few weeks ago, and I said to you, the clubs who have been successful in the Premier League, the Chelseas of 15 years ago bullied referees. The Man Uniteds of 30 years ago bullied referees, and they bullied the FA, and they got their way week in, week out, and they got their Fergie time and all that kind of thing. We don't do that. And unfortunately, we're going to have to be a little bit nasty if we're going to be successful. And I think that's what Arsenal are trying to do at the moment. They're trying to be a little bit nasty. They're trying to get in the referee's face. They're getting in all the insults and everything they can in interviews afterwards. And when it comes down to it, when there's a. But for now, we've just got to wait and see what happens with us, and see if our tide will change, and they'll stop giving the bad decisions against us, because it certainly feels like we've had much more of a raw deal than any of these teams are giving out about.
And am I right in saying, Paddy, Michael Oliver obviously is in the crosshairs of Liverpool fans? We know Paul Tierney's been there before, and I think there was another referee as well that was in the their crosshairs too as well. Was it Michael Oliver that was in Arsenal fans' crosshairs recently as well? And I think it was, wasn't it? Like, we've all, well, I don't know if we've all, but some of you guys must have seen some of the live watch along reactions that some people had up, some Liverpool fans had up. And look, I am actually having a go at them. I think a lot of those are over the top. And I think, look, we give out about refs, and it's like, Paddy, you've said, and I've said, this ref is bad. They're not fit for purpose, blah, blah, blah. They're all bad, whatever. But there's never a stage whereby we start calling for some of the things that some fan channels from other clubs are calling for at the moment. And to me, there is one of the reasons I brought it up. Much and all, as we might feel a referee is bad, there's no way that a referee should have a death threat against him like it's happened. I think it was to Michael Oliver recently. Or there's no way that, like, you know what I'm saying here? Are certain fan groups taking it too far with referees at the moment? And then does that make it more difficult? It shouldn't make it more difficult for them to referee the game, but humans are humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense?
Humans make mistakes. Make mistakes. But the whole ethos of explanation isn't there, or accountability isn't there, and that's all on Howard Webb. Howard Webb thinks that everything is solved by going on and that referees make mistakes, and sometimes they're wrong. He picks and chooses what replays to show on that. The referees are getting the worst of it. But if I encourage anybody to look up the PGMOL YouTube channel and see the facilities they have in Stockley Park. There's a video on that, and if you can tell me that you can go into work and not be able to do your job properly given those facilities, there's something wrong from the top down. People make mistakes. I'm absolutely fine with it. People changing their mind and coming up with stupid harebrained ideas to send players off is just bonkers. We saw it from the very start of this season, and I'll say it over and over again. Matty Cash kicks the ball, but that wasn't his intention, was the line that came out from PGMOL.
That is bonkers.
Now who justifiably keeps their job after making a statement like that? There's absolutely no justification for death threats or threatening any type of behavior against referees. We all know I hate referees. I absolutely. And every one of the FA or the Premier League referees I would sack just because they can't do their job. But I do blame the fact that they're not encouraged to do their job properly. They've made it very complicated, and as a result, they can't do it properly. So he needs to go. Howard Webb needs to go, and half of at least half of the referees need to go. I just can't see how anyway they're going to improve the system that they currently have, because they've everything at their disposal and they can't get it right. And we've seen it. That John Duran one is just typifies everything that went wrong for us this season. We can't catch a break with them either in the Premier League or the Champions League, which we saw with the Juventus one as well. Absolute madness. Even the Bruges one where Tyrone Mings picks it up, that's not given against Arsenal last year in the Champions League when they did it. It's just one of those things. It's just little old Aston Villa just have to put up with it. So I don't know whether the club is doing the right thing by not calling them out for what they are, but they've chosen not to do that, and it hasn't changed our fortunes and what we get from the referees. But they're absolutely not fit for purpose. I have absolutely no faith in the organisation or any one of the referees at this stage. But Anyway, there you go. It appears I'm dropping in and out. Am I? Somebody's
I
complaining.
think you
about
are,
me.
yeah. I thought it was you earlier on as well, but I wasn't sure. But we'll get that
Mhm.
sorted at some stage. And, you mentioned about Club Brugge. If anybody saw Club Brugge's penalty decision that they got last night, whoa. The Mings picking one up is clear as day in comparison to the one last night. So, Jesus. I watched that now. I literally, it was one of those moments. I actually did the whole, oh my God, the jaw drop thing, because I was like, you can't give a penalty in the 95th minute for that. You just cannot. But anyway,
No.
they did, and we could be playing Club Brugge now in the next round. Get some revenge. That would be nice. That would be really, 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 really nice. I did have something else there to say as well. My head is still like a sieve at the moment. I don't know. Some of you guys might have seen that Pete, the Canadian Pete from the Holy Trinity, is down with some sort of plague at the moment with illness. I think I've got something similar, and I think I have had it for a while when my voice was gone. But Jesus, my faculties are barely working at the moment still. But at least the voice is back, and that's all that really matters. But I'm a bit slow on the old brain over the last few days, so I can't remember what I was going to say to you there. It was probably about the Champions League. But anyway, we'll forget about it, because the youngest man to ever score in a European club competition in the proper rounds, Paddy, is an Irishman, and he scored tonight. His name is Michael Noonan, and there's going to be big things. City were supposed to buy him, I think for about £1 million. City were looking to buy him, and then out of nowhere, Shamrock Rovers signed him, started him at 16 years of age. He beat Romelu Lukaku's record today, and I think that's something to be proud of, to be Irish fans, Paddy. Even though I know he plays for Rovers, you're sworn enemies, but still, it's nice to see some young players coming in there, like Matt Healy and getting Mike Noonan, and getting those minutes in Europe, and hopefully Villa will be able to get the same sort of results in Europe with some of their younger players. They might be able to bring in. Because did you watch the Europa Youth League last night, Paddy? Did you watch that game?
I wish I had the time.
Academy.
I was working hard when it was on, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But great win for them. Delighted for them. Delighted for Shamrock Rovers, I must say, as well, because any result like that is only good for Irish football. So I'm absolutely delighted for them, regardless of the rivalry that's there. I'm going to have to shoot off soon. So the big news today is that we're opening a shop in the Bull Ring.
Yes.
And that's something we've been crying out for years, because a big club like ours not having a city centre outlet for people to go and do their shopping is something of a sin. So I'm very enthusiastic and delighted to see that happening. And long may that be ever present in the Bull Ring, that when somebody comes to Birmingham as a tourist, they know exactly what clubs are from Birmingham. I remember for years it used to irk me that they had that Birmingham City shop on just what they call it, Corporation Street, I think. Somebody will pull me up. But I used to hate walking past it, knowing that there was no Villa shop in Birmingham City Centre. And then they opened the Villa shop on New Street, which didn't last, unfortunately. But look, we're a big club now. We need to have that outlet in the city centre, and give people the opportunity to get in there and buy whatever they need to buy. And it'll be great for us to not have to carry the stuff around Villa Park. We can fill our boots in the shop in town and leave it in our hotel and head off to Villa Park without bags hanging over our arms.
Paddy, you know me. I always stay in the Aston Inn anyway, so I'll be dragging it from town out to the Aston Social anyway. So, it makes no difference to me other than footprint. And you know what? When we're coming through the airport, on the way back from the Celtic game as well, I must say, like, there was nothing but Villa stuff in the JD store, which you'd expect being the official partner. So the footprint is growing, and it's absolutely brilliant to see, and long may it continue. Just like you, Paddy, I do need to strike off. Thanks for reminding me of the time. Otherwise, we would have gone long on this one. But thanks so much, everybody, for watching and for listening. Voice is on the way back. It's still not fully there, but we will have a team sheet tantrum and a post-match for Ipswich at the weekend. And you know what? Might jump on tomorrow night, because I'm really, really excited. Not excited, but we used to do the presser. I can't remember what they were called, Paddy. What they called the press conference points or something like that. We used to do before. And tomorrow is the only press conference in a long, long time that I'm actually really, really interested in. Might jump on afterwards just to talk a little bit about those injuries, see if people are back. But until then, anyway, we won't know more about what's going to happen on Saturday when we do play against Ipswich. So keep an eye out on social media, everybody. If you don't hit the like button on this, please do. And also subscribe to the podcast as well. And we'll see you for Team Sheet Tantrum and for a post-match podcast definitely on Saturday. But in the meantime, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.